guessed from his name, but his Spanish is perfect. You wouldn't think that he would not be from Spain. He has, in later years, focused most of his activity on the volcano in the Canary Islands, and where he has contributed to the deployment and maintenance of networks for the Instituto Geográfico, and he has participated particularly in the eruptions of El Hierro in from 2011 to 2012, and of course in the recent eruption on the island of La Palma. And for that, he and his group have received the Medal of Merit for Civil Protection of the Spanish government. We want to congratulate him for that, and we thank him for coming to Mexico and sharing his experiences with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the committee, the scientific committee, the organizing committee for this invitation, and of course all of you to be there, to be here. I'm sure you are expecting not for the talk, but for the food, the Mexican food that we'll have shortly after the talk. I'll try to be fast enough because also there is a small special footage of the eruption if we have the time. So what I'll talk about is the volcano, what we have done in the volcano monitoring during this eruption, during the La Palma eruption, and the lesson that learned from this eruption. It will be in English, of course, and I think that we can start with, as Klaus said, the introduction. I'm working for, my name is Stavros, it sounds Greek, no? So I work for the IGN. IGN is the Spanish National Geographic Institute. We belong to the Spanish government, and we could assume that we measure whatever can be measured on Earth. So we have that volcanic group. We'll also work on seismicity, magnetometry, gravimetry, GNSS, INSAR, topography, whatever you can measure, we do that in IGN. No? So since 2004, IGN is responsible for the volcano monitoring in Spain. This means the Spain Peninsula, also Canary Islands, where the activity is, and of course, in Antarctica, where we have the base. This place considered as Spain. No? In Canary Islands, we're famous from the Teide volcano, that is a big stratovolcano. This is the third biggest stratovolcano on Earth. But of course, we have also the monogenetic activity. Most of the islands have this monogenetic activity, had that monogenetic activity. And in the last 500 years is the activity that we most have. No, we didn't have any eruption from big stratovolcanoes, but we have these activities mainly in the 4 islands. These are La Palma, Tenerife, Lanzarote, and of course El Hierro with the submarine eruption in 2011. And we can see here that excepting the eruption in Lanzarote that took 6 years, that lasted 6 years and covered almost 1/3 of the island, all the other eruptions are small monogenetic eruptions with short lava flows. We only have 23 fatalities from this eruption, mainly due to the earthquakes. And also imagine that this time the Canary Islands didn't have so many population. No, just in Tenerife Island we went from 100,000 people in the early 90s to 1 million right now. So when we had this activity, there are not so many people living around. The last eruption, the last subaerial eruption that we had in Canary Islands was in La Palma Island. It was in the southern part of the island. No affection. It didn't affect localities, but we did have 2 fatalities here from gases. And the last eruption, that was a submarine eruption, was in El Hierro Island, the southern coast of the El Hierro Island, in 2011. So we can see that La Palma is the island where we have the most historical eruptions. The history in Canary Islands is the last 500 years, as Central American also. So we have these eruptions in La Palma, and in the red star is the new vent of the 2021 eruption. So as La Palma was the island with the most eruptions during these historical times, it was also the island that most probability had to expect an eruption. That's why we had the monitoring network prepared. We had we had some seismic stations. Also, with the seismic station, we included gas station from CO2 and the radon, and of course GNSS station. And we had all these network stations, but also we did some periodical campaigns for with cinematic GPS and also sampling from water and gases all around the island. So we could say that this eruption began about 4 years before, where we start having swarms of seismic swarms, and we can see that between 2017 and 2021 we have at least 7 episodes of activity. We didn't have any GPS, any ground deformation, probably because we were treating with deep activity. And in that case, although we have some activity in about 15, maybe a little less, 15 kilometers, we didn't have this ground deformation. So we just registering the activity, and it was just the seismic activity up at the moment, no? So also we have some changes before this eruption. In 2017, we have some changes in the gases in the ground, but actually it was not something that it was continue, no? But we just some colleagues of mine did the publication of that with talking about the probability of eruption. But we start seeing what we were expecting to see what could change. Before the 2021 eruption, we start having this seismic activity, but also we start seeing at the second day the activity of ground deformation. And as you can see here, we have changes in the GPS stations. We have also the tilt meter changes and the ISAR image. And the activity began on 11th of September, that was a Saturday. We were waiting for about 48 hours to see if this was just a swarm as the other ones that we were registered previously. And but it showed that this activity was with much more energy. So on Monday evening, we advised the civil protection. And the civil protection activated the special plan. This is the special plan that exists in Spain. This is a plan that almost we can say that is a law. And on Monday morning we have the first scientific committee and steering committee. No, the scientific plan, the special protection plan has 2 types of committees. So the scientific committee, what is doing is to see the data and give to the steering committee the probabilities of what phenomena could be expected. No, so since 13th of September, that was Monday, the PEVOLCA plan was activated, and every institution that you can see here, this is the part of the scientific institution, this is the part of civil and government institutions were collaborating. So the same day we were landed on the island. We installed new seismic station. We started GPS cinematic campaigns, and we also start to give some talks to the people because the the protection plan was asked for these talks, explaining what we could expect. Of course, in that moment, we just showing that there was a deformation and that we have that seismic swarms, but there was no certain. We were not certain for the eruption that will come soon. So we keep monitoring the seismic swarms, and here you can see the seismic events along with the GPS components that were changing through this week before the eruption. You can see that we have a migration to the north, and how the components of the GPS station were changing. So passing the days, we saw that there was a probability of an eruption. The eruption took place on 19th of September, 3:11 local time. As you can see, that was a monogenetic eruption. It started where no volcano, there wasn't any volcano there, right there. There were some tomato farms or something like that. And it was an eruption typical with those that we have the last 500 years in Canary Islands. That was a fissural eruption. This is footage from a drone about 3 or 4 hours later. And we can see that the first lava flows are affecting the small roads of the island. And of course, here you can see some houses. The eruption began at about 40 meters from the last house of a small village there. You can see that we have the roads closed. And in the same moment, we prepared a probabilistic map for the lava flows. We thought that this would be a value tool for the stakeholders so they can take the decision, because in that case, we were talking about an urban eruption that will affect the people. So we prepared this map, and as you can see, after the eruption flows, we can say that the map covered or show the expected lavas, and finally they use it as a tool, and they use it for taking the decision for the evacuation. And you can see that the map 99% predict the lava flows placement. Also, we have to, the law said that once the eruption began, we have to prepare a center where an operational center where we have all the data coming in real time from all the stations, and also where we have the briefing and we have the preparation of the work of every day. Once the eruption began, as previously told here, we continue monitoring, because we thought that because it's important to continue monitoring to see how the evolution of the activity will be, and we continue monitoring the seismicity. So we saw that there were 2 different depths. Also, we have a pause here of the eruption for some hours, and we can see here the magnitudes of the earthquakes. Also, we have the depths with the intensity. That was data that we were giving every day in the morning in the committee, so we could discuss and see the evolution of the eruption. Of course, in the case of the deformation, we did the same. We continue with the GNSS deformation. This is a station that will have several uplifts, probably to magma passing below the station. And of course, then the INSAR and the tilt meters, along with MOGI models, to see if these models were close to what we were registering with seismic stations. In the case of geochemistry, we just talk about the tropomy data, and of course we had local sampling from some fountains, and also from the ground, diffusion radon gas, and also CO2 gas. And as we're responsible for the volcano monitoring, we are responsible also of the emission of the VONAS, that's the alert for the volcanic ash. So during the eruption, we emitted 29 bonas, and the back of Toulouse, that is responsible for our area, emitted 375 advices. And as you can understand, the airplane traffic was affected by the ash. Now, during the eruption, we also have to monitor other things than the typical things that we can monitor with the instruments. And one of these things were the cone, the eruptive cone. You can see this is the moment that we have the eruption. This is the cone 2 months later, and of course we have to see if we will measure every day the cone, the height of the cone in different places, just to see and to be sure that the cone didn't change the shape so fast. That would mean that the magma emplacement was near the surface. One of the most important part of the eruption that has to be monitored was the lava flows, because you can see the lava flows going into the villages, covering the houses. So we have a continual monitoring of the lava in collaborating with the local authorities and the other institutions with drones, and also real time with signs on the ground and photographies to see how fast the lavas were moving down. And also this was we were making this also by night, no, with infrared cameras. We are partner of the Copernicus for Spain, so we also have the data from satellite about the lava flows during the days, during specific days, so we can calibrate this data with the real data that we're having on the ground. And also we continue with deployment of instruments. Here, this is a radon sensor, the thermal camera. This is a camera for the altitude of the column. And this is a new thermal camera also, and some sampling. We will continue of deployment of the instrument and sampling. No, this is a short footage of fresh lava sampling. We're talking about almost 1,100 degrees Celsius degrees. And in this video, this is the sample site. You can see. Maybe because we all talking about monogenetic eruption and we consider them as small eruption, no, small lava flows, short lava flows, and here you can understand maybe that in that case it was not a simply a monogenetic eruption. There was too much gas, too much water in that. We have explosions, and of course we have lava flows that were changing all over the time. One of the problems that we have during the eruption was to maintain the network. This means that we have to visit every day the stations, because we have to clean the GNSS antennas or the panels that we have to give electricity to the stations. You can see here, this is just one day after we have cleaned that panel. So we need that that the instrumentation should run 24 hours per day, and we couldn't lose data from that. But the problem was not just for the station, but also for the people. This is in the center we have been evacuated 3 times because we have gases, arsenic included. This is a ride to the station to clean the panels. You can see short rain of pyroclastic material, and we also we put some satellite antenna just in case that we have problem with the 3G, because we had that problems. Imagine that the antenna point the island in the villages, the lavas were going down, so they didn't left the antennas there, so we had problem with antennas. And this is the moment that we have to clear the station from the lapilli of the eruption. Every day we have a scientific committee. We expose the data we discussed the data with other institutions, and this is the moment that the eruption declared, the end of the eruption was declared. That was 85 days later. Although once the eruptive activity was finished, we left 10 days more to be sure, because in Canary Islands there is an eruption that the eruption had finished, and after some days began the new eruption. So we left some days just to be sure, according to the data that we received. And of course, we have to attend the media, because the eruption, it was one of these eruptions that everybody was interested in, because the effects that have directly to the population. And of course, all that time we were collaborating with the civil protection, with the local authorities and the government of the Canary Islands authorities. We participated to the talks to the people, and they prepared some documents for advising the people what they should do in case that they will be near to the volcanic products. And as you can see, it wasn't just to monitor the eruption. This is the part of the civil protection. They have to clean the house's roof from the lapilli, to evacuate the animals, to evacuate the people with the belongings, to prepare a place with all this material that were arriving from outside of the island, because everybody wanted to help the people. And during the eruption, we had 11 evacuations and 6 confinements. Apart from these 11 evacuations, 2 of them were, let's say, evacuation in real time, and the other 9 were evacuations that were planned due to the lava flows in the villages. On December 13, we can see that the tremor suddenly disappeared. This is the moment that we have the end of the eruption. The end of the eruption was accompanied by the highest eruptive column of all the eruption. It was about 8 kilometers, and this is how it was nearby the cone after that short explosive event. You can see all these impact craters. These are from the bombs that we have in this event. And this eruption, what left behind, you can see the island before the eruption. This eruption, what left behind was these lava flows that cover these villages, and of course all infrastructure and roads and hotels and all things like that. Also, we have 2 platforms prepared. 2 platforms from the lava flows that arrived to the sea. This is the biggest one, but you can see that this is a feature that we had in Canary Islands. I mean, the Canary Islands had that platforms that finally, after many years, people are working on them or living on them. And of course, what left the eruption was this destruction to the houses, to the people. You can see this is 6 meters of lava flows covering the houses. This is a drone picture of lava flow in the village, and you can see people walking in the second plant of the house. This is one of the last lava flows that we have. Also, what the eruption left behind was that cone. In that moment, the cone had 7 craters around. It's still degassing right now. It will be degassing the next years, of course. And you can see this is the lava field that was made by this eruption. And these are the data about the impact of the eruption. You can see that they were affected, 2,000 people affected. We have lava flows, the edifice affected, and also the roads, and more than 500 cancelled. We're talking about probably it will reach 1 billion euros of cost of the eruption. once everything is finished, because right now they are opening roads. And after the eruption, we're still working on that. We're still monitoring the volcano. We're monitoring with infrared drones. We do that also working on the crater. We install gases, because right now there are two small villages that they cannot go back because of CO2 diffuse gas. And of course, we are monitoring the seismicity and the ground deformation right now. This is one of this is the third day after the eruption was finished. We installed a new instrument by the crater. You can see the fumaroles there. And finishing this talk, I can tell that the most important lessons that we learned, the most important lessons that we learned was that in that cases we have to collaborate with the authorities, the scientists, and the population, because this means civil protection. If one of the three will not work, nothing will work. We have to understand that although we have the knowledge and we have the instrumentation, what is more important is to transform this knowledge to apply science for the people, because they need answers. They need answers to the question right now. They need answers in the moment that we have the eruption. And of course, the most important thing is that we need always to have a permanent network, monitor network, so we will be prepared to advise and to communicate any changes. Thank you very much. If we have 3 minutes, we can put 3 minutes. Okay? Okay.
Thank you very much. So we have a bit of time for questions. Danny?